So, while I was dicking around just trying to grind up jewels, I found this guy here, and I had completely forgot about this. Something to do with, like, the trophies in this game is just, like, finding these various different travelers around. It's just like this guy and his wife. You'll just find, like, one encounter with each of them, I believe, on every main section of the hub, more or less. Something like that. One thing I should say probably is that I haven't actually, like, played this game quite as much as some of the other games I've done Let's Plays of. Like, I've played through it all the way once, and I've, like, started up other playthroughs since, but yeah, I'm definitely not as familiar with this game as I could be. But yeah, I don't think it's explicitly, like, said that these guys are ghosts, or if they're just, like, something to do with the time-space continuum or whatever. And yeah, this is just me showing that I have all the trophies and thus have talked to all of them. Not really anything special, but, you know. But yeah, they're an interesting, kind of useless addition to the game. And I'll try to show them all as I find them, but who knows. They're not super important to anything but the fact that it's just kind of neat to find them. But yeah, here's the next actual story mission, and this is going to be a bit of a long one. Not super long, but it's going to take, like, the whole video, roughly. So, this first little bit here kind of makes it look like this is going to be something you have to memorize, but don't worry, Kat figures all this out on her own, roughly. There's one part where you kind of have to think for a bit, but even then, Kat just kind of has a stray thought that just gives you the answer anyway. If you take too long to do it. But yeah, this is basically just a go around and find things mission. There's not really even much threat of, like, any kind of danger happening here. Yeah, if there is one complaint I do have about this game is that mission variety tends to not be super amazing. In a lot of ways, this game kind of feels like a tech demo for what would be the second game, which is, in my opinion, much better. But, you know, I still think it's fun in its own right. I mean, obviously, since I'm doing all this. But yeah, if you haven't figured it out by now, this is post-commentary. Mainly because I got kind of distracted, or, like, maybe a bit too absorbed into the game to actually say anything during all this. And eventually I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna, like, do this in post later. And it's not like there's a whole lot to say about this mission anyway, but, you know, I don't want to have a video that's just me silently doing a mission and maybe saying, like, oh, here's the thing gotta do. Just to, like, not have the entire video be dead air. But yeah, a blue flag on high, this is the one thing I was, like, saying maybe you have to think a bit, but I got distracted by these, and then, like, after a little while, yeah, she just says this. Well, no, this isn't the one where she specifically says what it is. I think that's the next one coming up. Yep, here it is. Also, after this, I just did like a stasis field upgrade, so maybe I should have done the meter upgrade instead. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could talk about like boring work stories, because that's just kind of become my go-to if I don't have anything about the actual game to say, and I mean, I don't have anything about this mission to say until a certain point, I guess. Again, it's basically just following a strict route from point A to point B, not doing anything really interesting. The game gets better, I promise. Like, this next mission we're doing, that I feel like is when the game starts to like actually feel like a video game as opposed to just a collection of things to do with a set of mechanics. Yeah, I guess in case anyone new finds this from some other thing and isn't like familiar with me, I work as like a electronics associate at a Walmart, and that basically just means that I do roughly everything relating to that department, not any one specific job. So like, we have to like load the freight and attend to customers' needs or whatever. Just anything relating to that department aside from, you know, being the manager of the department, I have to do. And one thing we do with like one thing we do regarding that department is we have what we call open box TVs. Basically, that's if someone returns a TV, but the TV is still like usable. We put it out on display, and we have like a sheet we stick on it that lists like any possible reason someone might have returned it, like let's say any kind of damage, or maybe it's missing a remote, or you know, anything like that, aside from obviously whether it has the box or not, because you can literally just see if it's in the box for that. But we do that when we stick the sheet on the TV, and we have like a barcode we slap over the UPC code if it still has a box. And this one guy, he thought he was being really clever, because obviously these are marked down. So what he did was he took the sheet we stuck on a open box 32-inch Hisense. Yeah, I screwed up a lot with this mission. Well, this specific part of the mission. But, yeah. Anyway, he thought he was being really clever by taking the label from an open box 32-inch Hisense, sticking it on a brand-ass new 58, 68, I forget which size exactly, big-ass Samsung TV, completely new, unopened. He stuck it on there, and he took it up front, and when they told him, "Sir, this is for a different TV," he told them, "Well, someone in electronics told me I could get it for that price," and I obviously hadn't told him, and I was the only one in the department at the time, because my store is understaffed as fuck. But yeah, so because of that, I had to stay past my shift, like 20 minutes past my shift, just explaining repeatedly the stuff I just explained to y'all about the open box TVs. Because he just wouldn't budge until finally, I guess, he realized we could just look at security camera footage and see him doing that, and maybe he would get banned from the store. Anyway, that's a perfect amount of time for that to have gone on for, because now we're getting to the semi-interesting part of the mission, which isn't actually that interesting, but, you know, kind of shows you there's a little more going on to this world than meets the eye. If that matters at all. I don't know. Yeah, so this part here, probably not in the real world. Well, the real in-the-game world. But basically this just exists kind of to get you to a somewhat fanciful location and kind of show you, because Dusty just kind of runs off here, and this part here just teaches you, hey, if you don't have Dusty, you can't use any of your special powers, which you might want to know for the maybe like 2 or 3 points in the game that this is actually relevant, including this part. I think there's like maybe 2 more times at the very most that you won't have Dusty in the game. So yeah, guess be prepared for those when they happen. That all being said, I think it's about time we meet the Man of Destiny himself. And there he is. Yeah, this guy becomes a little more important later, but as for right now, Cat's just kind of not taking him seriously, so this mission was basically entirely pointless. And, I like this cutscene. Like, the early game of Gravity Rush is kind of just held together by the fact that Cat's just an enjoyable character to watch do things, and like the base mechanic of just like running around is kind of fun. But yeah, the early game is kind of slow, and next mission we're actually gonna start getting into proper video game shit. So yeah. We're past the point of the tutorial, and now we're past the point of basically everything just being fetch quests. Though there are still a few missions later on that are kind of like that. Gravity Rush 2, I think, does a lot better of a job of making not every mission be a boring fetch quest like this game tends to do. But oh well, it's gonna be a while before we get to that game, so until then, I'll leave you all with some parting words. Toucan. Sorry, I couldn't think of another word. Bye.